What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. FantasyTeamAdvisors.com, bringing home the bacon, MLB DFS video. It is Monday. It is March 31st. We are back, but you guys absolutely murdered it yesterday. You killed it. The views, the likes, the comments, the strategy. You guys absolutely killed it, and I want to thank each and every one of you. If you're just finding this channel for the first time, let me know down below how you found us. Would love to know if the algorithm is working or what it is. If you've already seen, you already clicked on the video, you see it's a little bit longer than normal, but we break down every single game. So we look at all of pitchers, all of the batters in those games. We use outlier.bet. We use it all for you and hopefully make you a better DFS player. If you do need a little bit more help, we do have FTA Plus, which you can see right here, $10 for a week, $30 for a month, $200 for a year, or $500 for a lifetime pass. We've got it for you, and I want to bring it to you guys. So that being said, we have an absolutely free Discord link down below. We do value plays. We do core plays for all sports. We currently do all the sports that you see at the top in the red on here as well. We also try to have giveaways in these videos. We have 2 giveaways, or we try to every single day. First way, like the video, be a subscriber to this channel, and you got to leave a comment so the comment picker to pick you up. You do all of those, and this video gets at least 50 likes. You will have a chance at a free week of FTA Plus. That's all sports, not just MLB. If this video gets 100 likes, a chance at a free month, 150 likes, a free year, 200 or more likes on this video, a chance at a $500 lifetime pass. And you guys killed it. I thought we were giving away a lifetime pass yesterday. It zoomed. 2,200 views, 59 comments, 181 likes. So we're going to have the 2 giveaways. The other giveaway is there's a keyword somewhere in this video. Listen for it, type it in, and you have a chance at a second free week of FTA Plus. Now we are going to roll this. This right here will be a giveaway for a free year. Hopefully it goes to one person that's never won before and a new person to the channel, but let's see who it is. There you go. Mean Cantiff 17. Congratulations. You won the free year. You know the drill. Please email me dfshelp1@gmail.com. That's dfshelp, the number 1 at gmail.com. Let me know your username on the website and you have just won yourself a free year. Now, on top of that, the keyword yesterday was rest. Even though the keyword is in here, we're still going to re-roll it for the second winner, and it could be 1 in 59 chance that that comment's the same one. Again, we will see. It's all random. And there you go, William Fasanella. Congratulations. Please email me as well. You won a free week as well. So congratulations to both of you. Here's how we're going to do it. We're going to break everything down. At the end of the video, we're going to give you all of the batters that have a 10 out of 10 matchup rating through 10,000 simulations. So we do 20,000 simulations a day. I've already done 10,000 in the background. We'll give you all of the batters that have a 10 out of 10 matchup rating. And there are 29 for a 14-game main slate that have a 10 out of 10 matchup rating, which is wild. Second most. I think the most we had the other day was over 30. So we're going to do that. We're going to do everything. So just before we jump into that, looking at ballpark factors, there are 4 ballparks that are jumping out with the wind right now. Oriole Park, Boston at Baltimore. Steinbrenner Field, which is Tampa Bay, home field this year. The Citizens Bank Park between the Rockies and the Phillies have the biggest chance for home runs, 37% chance. And then Great American Small Park between the Rangers and the Reds have a 17% chance of home runs. So a ton there. We'll cover some BVP. We'll cover it all. Hopefully you guys are ready to rock and roll. Now, I don't know about FanDuel, but on DraftKings anyway, it's broken up into a 4-game early slate. There's a 2-game turbo slate, which is weird. Then there's the main slate at night, which is 8-game main slate. And, weather concern in Oakland or Sacramento or wherever they're playing right now, the Athletics, the athletic baseball team, we'll call them that. So that being said, this is exactly what we do. We go into the games, we click into them, which we love, and we use Outlier to break it down. So what you do is I come into match details. And if anyone wants to sign up, you can find my Outlier link down below. It's fantastic. And you'll see exactly why I love it and what it brings to the table and everything. So it brings you your pitchers. It brings you your batters, whether or not they've had success against the opposing pitcher or how they do against left-handed pitchers. And then we'll just cover the batters in those games that we like. Now, I'm always up for some constructive criticism or things you would like to see in these videos or things you would like to see in the accompanying articles. Let me know what you guys would like to see. Obviously, it's a business, so I give away a ton of information. We have our player pools, we have our bets, we have everything for $10 a week. So check us out. So we look at this, Chris Paddock versus Martin Perez. So we got Paddock going in. And he's been up and down. We used him a few times last year. I don't know why it's not loading at the moment. My internet's good. Let it load for a second. So Chris Paddock here, going in here last year, 1-0 record against them, a 150 ERA. So probably 2 starts, 12 innings, 9.75 strikeouts per 9, and wasn't walking very many. So all of that's great. Why isn't it working? So we look at that, and he's okay. And again, the White Sox are a very bad team. We know that. Everybody knows this. Everybody knows this. If you were to take the Minnesota bats against, well, you could do, let's go White Sox first. So Paddock, against Paddock, no one's hit a home run. Against right-handed pitching, though, we look into that and we try to feel out what we can. And you can see the green means they hit righties better. The red means they hit lefties better. So that's kind of what it is. Give me a second. Okay, so for some reason, my VPN jumped on, and that stopped me from being able to see the pitchers. So we look at Chris Paddock, and we can see, last year when he pitched on the road, it was a 547. Or no, sorry. It was a 659 on the road. Not very good on the road now. Again, this is the White Sox. So if you want to go contrarian, the White Sox is a stack because he was so bad. I get that. But again, that was last year. So how many numbers can we actually go off of from the previous year? It really just depends. When we look at that, he faced the White Sox twice last year, 1 win, 12 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, 13 strikeouts. He was averaging 23.2. And just like we've talked about in other videos, minimum you'd like is 2 times value, that bare minimum, basically 2.5. So 8,700 times 2.5. But if you can get 23 to 25, you're in a good spot there. But he is very expensive at 8,700. Then you got Martin Perez. Splits-wise, he faced Minnesota once last year, gave up 3 earned runs in 4.2 innings, only 2 strikeouts. The strikeouts weren't there. He wasn't doing anything. And then when you look at it, home games, 323. But again, different team than the White Sox now. So we look at that. If I were not to take Chris Paddock and I were to go contrarian and go with a White Sox stack, ones I would look at, Luis Robert, I would look at. Benintendi, I'm okay with. Andrew Vaughn, I'm okay with. Cheap options, Baldwin and Corey Lee would be the only ones. I don't love a White Sox stack today. And then Minnesota bats against Martin Perez in their career. They haven't seen him much, but Correa, 2 home runs in there. And then Ryan Jeffers has a home run. Usually we like to take Ryan Jeffers against lefties, and that's what we see here. And then you look at your, Ryan Jeffers hits lefties better, 248 batting average last year with 9 bombs. You had Carlos Correa batted 312, only 77 plate appearances with 5 bombs as well. Bader, usually you take against a lefty. Last year only batted 204, but had 5 home runs. Buxton, we got to use him before he gets hurt yet again. 298 batting average, 3 home runs against lefties last year. So those would be the bats that I would use in this game. Pitching-wise, probably not using the pitch. It is a 4-game slate, possibly a 3-game slate, depending on what the weather is going to do in Baltimore. But there's just other pitching today that I like. So we'll move on to Kansas City. At Milwaukee will be the game we are looking at next. So we look at these. We're already into the 4th game of the season for Milwaukee, and they already have an opener, supposedly. Wild stuff. Elvin Rodriguez will start Monday's game as an opener. Did not pitch in Milwaukee's games. So, again, we look at game logs, hasn't done anything. Splits, hasn't ever done anything. Probably 1 to 2 innings max. I'm not using him. Then you got Hudson. Same thing, hasn't done anything. How long is it going to be a bullpen game? Milwaukee has looked absolutely terrible the first 3 games against the Yankees. I would be all in on the Royals. Now, Bubic here has actually done pretty well in the spring. Last year, did not face Milwaukee. 14 games last year, did not start any of those games, but had some good numbers. Again, this is one where I can't really get a feel for how these teams are going to do. If I were to take a pitcher in this one, it would be Bubic here. I think that's how you say his name. He's 7,700, and I don't know how far he's going to go into the game. That's the problem. So you're not looking at the Milwaukee pitching. I would look at Kansas City bats. If I am looking at bats, it's obviously Pasquantino. I'm looking at Vinny P. Bobby Witt Jr. batted 336 last year against righties. It just depends on how long he goes in, and then who the bullpen arms that come in if they're a lefty-righty matchup. MJ Melendez I would look at. Salvador Perez I would look at. If a lefty comes in, Mark Canha's always in store, but I don't know if there will be. Hunter Renfroe's another one that I would look at there. Milwaukee bats against Bubic. No, really seen them, but if we are looking for batters, their offense has looked putrid the first 3 games. Whether or not that they're back home now and, they honor Bob Uecker and they do this and that and they play good for him or whatever. William Contreras obviously makes sense. Rhys Hoskins I would use. Christian Yelich, he's stealing bases. Bryce Terang, if he gets on, I think he stole 50 of 56 last year and he stole 1 or 2 on Sunday. Those are the bats that I would look at here. Now, I don't know. That's pretty much it, though. I mean, Milwaukee, I'm not looking at the bats. And Kansas City, Bubic for tournaments, I'm okay with cash. I'm not okay. Boston at Baltimore, you got Cade Povich versus Sean Newcomb. So we look into this game. Now, weather's a concern. If it goes away, the wind is blowing directly out. It's got one of the best options or chances for home runs on the year. And again, that's 5 games in. If we look at the pitching, Cade Povich against Boston last year, 2 starts, 11 innings, 11 hits, 11 strikeouts. Great numbers. But then he gave up 6 earned runs, 2 home runs, 4.91 ERA, and only averaged 13.5. Now, Boston can hit when they are on. It's a lefty-righty it's a lefty matchup here for Povich. Tournaments, I'm okay with because he's 7,500. Cash, I'm not trusting. Then you got Sean Newcomb. Did not face Baltimore last year. Didn't pitch much last year. He was on the A's. Now he's on Boston. Starting, again, I'm trying to look. Open the season, the 5th starter, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I don't know how deep he's going to go into the games. That's the problem. Being hurt last year, coming over, being in Oakland, I thought he was really good with the Braves, but things happen. So if you aren't taking either pitcher and you are taking bats, Rob Refsnyder batting 4 for 5 against, or 3 for 5 against him with 1 home run. But against left-handed pitching, they don't actually do very well. Overall, like Connor Wong, if he gets in there, 311 batting average will be a cheap catching option for you. I don't know if he'll be in there. Tristan Casas hits better. Gonzalez hits better. I don't know if he'll start. Refsnyder would be a cheap option. Devers has looked bad to start the season. I don't know if I want to pay up that much until he starts to prove himself. Povich for tournaments? Maybe, just because the numbers are looking kind of good there. Now, with the weather being a concern and the wind blowing out, I'm probably just looking at bats. And then if I were to look at Baltimore bats against Newcomb, no one's really seen anything. Against lefties, though, Rushman batted .329 last year, 7 bombs. You had Gary Sanchez with 7 bombs, but I don't know if he'll start. He could, but I doubt it. Jorge Mateo would be a cheap option. Mountcastle batted .306 with 4 bombs. I like that. Kjerstad's .375. Ramon Laureano usually hits against lefties. .305 batting average, 5 bombs. And Tyler Bro-Neal, .313 batting average, 16 bombs. Those would be all the ones you could look at. You could, do the one-offs of like Colton Cowser, Jordan Westberg. It just depends on if Gary Sanchez is in there as a cheap catching option. I'm okay with that just because he loves to hit lefties normally. Last year he did not. But Adley's in a great spot. Might be one of the top plays of this early 4-game slate. That is that game. We are now covering the last one. Another one with weather concerns. Kind of the same. A storm front. Colorado at Philly. The wind was blowing out there as well. So could spell disaster for pitchers. Good for batters, but we will look. So Christopher Sanchez versus Herman Marquez. Sanchez, 2 starts last year, 1-0 record, 11.1 innings, only 2 earned runs, and 12 strikeouts against this Colorado team. 20.3 fantasy points. I will take 20.3. Weather scares me a little bit. Marquez didn't face Philly last year. Pitched 1 game, July 14th. That is it. Elbow injury last year. In the rotation. Probably doesn't go deep into games. It'd be a shame. I think it's basically a Philly stack for me. I wanted a Philly stack yesterday and didn't start out. I thought it would be way better than it was. Was not. And then Great American Small Park had a perfect game going in like the 5th inning. What's going on? So Philly bats against Marquez. Like you can see, Schwarber has 2 bombs against him. Bohm has a home run against him. Castellanos has a home run against him. You go down to just right-handed pitching. They do not hit righties as well as lefties. Marchand you could look at. I don't know if he'll be in there. Stott I'm okay with. Brandon Marsh I'm okay with. And then Obviously, you pay up for Harper, Schwarber, Trey Turner. Like, we know that. Those all are in great spots. But if you are trying to find a little bit cheaper options for Philly, the ones I mentioned, I could look at. I really like Christopher Sanchez, so I don't think I'll be using many Colorado bats. Only one has a home run, Kyle Farmer. If you wanted to fade Christopher Sanchez and go with Colorado, you could. You could look at Brenton Doyle, who had 5 bombs last year, Tovar with 8 bombs, Togliai with 9, McMahon with 6, Stallings with 5, and Hunter Goodman with 6 as well. I'm probably not going. In my mind, in this game, I'm looking at Christopher Sanchez, and I am looking at the Philly bats. It will just really depend on what this weather is going to do in these 2 games. Now, if weather controls both of these games and they don't play, I'm not playing this early 2-game slate. I won't have anything on the website if 2 games get postponed. And luckily, they're all start right around each other, so we should be good. And now we have a 2-game turbo slate, Texas at Cincy, and then New York Mets game going on. So if we go Texas at Cincy real quick, again, Great American Small Park. The wind was blown out in this ballpark too. Weather doesn't look to be a factor. Whether or not you're playing DFS or you want to do sports betting, you can find your prop bets right here. But you've got Brady Singer versus Kumar Rocker. Kumar, obviously, last year, 3 games. Didn't go 5 innings in those games. Had 18 fantasy points, 10 and 4.3. Strikeouts were, dwindled. They started good and then they went down. Splits wise, it's a small ballpark with the wind blowing out. He's 8,200. It's a 2-game slate. I would be okay with him, but the weather scares me. The wind. Brady Singer now, he did decent last year, 3.7 ERA against pitchers, against batters, but he was in Kansas City, which was a pitcher's ballpark. He is now in the exact opposite. This ballpark lets the ball fly. Absolutely lets the ball fly. So these numbers aren't really looking good home or away. If you want to think of it this way, he is now in a new home ballpark, but technically he could be away in his mind where he had a 4.16 ERA. Faced Texas twice last year, 7 hits allowed, 2 earned runs, 12 strikeouts. But again, better ballpark and the wind wasn't blowing out. That scares me to use. I'm probably not playing this turbo slate, but I wanted to cover it for you guys anyway. I would just look at the bats. So Texas bats, if we're taking Texas bats against Singer, we can look at them. Higashioka has a home run, probably isn't starting. That's it for home runs. Against right-handed pitching, though, Jock Peterson, 281, young Jock with 22 bombs. Jake Berger had 20 bombs. You had Corey Seager with 24 bombs. He did not play on Sunday. I don't know. I haven't seen any news if he's out for a little bit. I know he had I think it was a back problem during spring training. Maybe he just got a day of rest. Like I said, Sundays were day of rests. We'll see. If he is out, that obviously opens up like a Marcus Semien or an Adolis Garcia. Wyatt Langford had a home run on Sunday. Leota Taveras would be a cheap option if you don't want to pay up for a Corey Seager or a Semien in this one. Cincy bats against Rocker, never seen him before. Against righties, yeah, I mean, I would look at Ellie. I would look at Candelario. And maybe a little bit of Jake Fraley and Gavin Lux. Probably it in that one. So that one scares me a little bit, just the weather and the wind blowing out. Then you got the Mets at the Marlins. You got David Peterson versus Cal Quantrill. Faced Miami twice last year. 2-0 record, 14 hits allowed, 6 earned runs. The strikeouts were low, though. 5 strikeouts in 2 games is not enough. He had that big game, right, last year. Like a 40 burger. Well, 33 against Boston, had 11 strikeouts. Maybe that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, we used him against the Boston game, and then it kind of just went downhill from there. You can see 33, then he had 3.76, and it just never had it the rest of the year, which is wild. Miami walked off every game against the Pittsburgh Pirates, I believe. Not too shabby. Then you got Cal Quantrill going up against this Mets team. Didn't face the Mets last year. Pitching, he's in a new ballpark now, so his home was 491, but that's no longer Coors. We could see. I don't know if I trust this, though. This 2-gamer, I'm not playing, though. I'll just tell you that. But Mets bats against Quantrill. No one's really seen him much. Beatty has a home run. Against righties, though, yeah, Juan Soto last year batted 293, 28 bombs. Obviously, hitting in front of Judge helps a lot. Not to take away that Juan Soto's a really good player, but those are the numbers. Lindor's kind of been slow out the gate. Alonso, 25 bombs last year, I would look at. You go look at Mark Vientos with 20 bombs. I'm okay with. Brett Beatty, if he gets in there, I don't mind. Jesse Winker, I think, could be a sneaky option today. I think Jesse Winker might be a very cheap, sneaky option in a stack there, if you're going to stack the Mets. So that's that 2-gamer weird little turbo slate. And now we're into the 8-game main slate, and we are ready to rock and roll. Now, Pittsburgh going to Tampa Bay. And this is in the Yankees minor league complex, which has chance for home runs as well. Rasmussen versus Lodzinski. Not going either of these pitchers. I would go bats instead of the pitchers. So Pirates bats against righties. I would look at Adam Frazier. I would look at IKF. McCutchen has been heating up. Brian Reynolds I would look at, can get some stolen bases for you if he gets on there. Jared Triolo, I do not mind either. And then Tampa Bay bats. Really haven't seen him much, but if I were to take him, Aranda, I don't mind. I like him. Chris Morel with 17 bombs. Only batted 208 last year, though, so make sure. Brandon Lau, I think, had a home run on Sunday. 240 batting average, 17 bombs. And Yanni Diaz is another one I'd look at. 261 with 10 bombs. And if you're trying to complete that 5-man stack on DraftKings, you could look at Junior Caminero. 230 batting average last year with 6 bombs. So that was an easy game to cover. Don't want the pitching in it. Washington, Toronto, Bowden Francis versus Michael Soroka. Francis last year did not face Washington. Francis last year at home, 3.40 ERA. So a little bit worse than on the road. Game logs had some decent double digits, almost 15 plus in, he had 41-30. He had that stretch right here. From August 7th on, he had 15 plus fantasy points in every game. You would kind of look at that at his price. I'm okay with using him. Washington, you got Michael Soroka, didn't even realize he's pitching. Splits-wise, faced Toronto once last year. It was out of the bullpen. Whether or not, there's no momentum. He got the rotation. That is it. He's pitching in a new ballpark or for a new team. Probably don't like him much at all. So we will look at the bats against both of these opposing pitchers. So looking at Washington bats against Bowden Francis, no one's seen much. Against right-handed pitching, like Paul DeYoung had 19 bombs. Luis Garcia was 17 bombs. Josh Bell had a home run, I believe, yesterday or Saturday. Like, they've all hit very well. Alex Call, if he gets in there, 368 batting average. Tanya, 292 batting average. Nate Lowe, 13 bombs. James Wood hits better against righties. I think everyone's going to look at that and be on Washington bats. I like Bowden Francis today. I do not like Soroka. They've not faced him before. So yeah, the ones I would look at would be Andres Jimenez, Vladdy. I would look at George Springer, Santander. Cheaper options, maybe a Will Wagner or a Nate Lukes. I think it's Nate. A Lukes, what I would look at there. I'm not going. If I'm taking a pitcher in this one, it is Bowden Francis. It is not Soroka. Angels at the Cardinals. You got Tyler Anderson versus Miles Mikolas. Or Michaelis. I think it's Mikolas. Tyler Anderson, splits-wise last year did not face St. Louis. Last year on the road had a 2.77 ERA, so he pitched way better on the road. And then you look at Miles here, did not face the Angels last year. Home game, 6.16 ERA, so he did struggle at home. So that, again, we got to get about a month's worth of data, or about 4 to 5 starts of each pitcher, so we know how they are splits-wise on the road or at home for this year. But what we've got to go over is what we've got from last year. So pitching-wise, Tyler Anderson, I'm okay with. I don't mind Tyler Anderson. But if you were to take batters against him, Wilson Contreras does have a home run against him. Against lefties last year, 4 bombs. They just hit righties better. So yeah, looking at these numbers, more red than green, I think I kind of like Tyler Anderson a little bit more. And I'll let you guys know right now, I'm not always correct. There are times that I am wrong. I'm just giving you my analysis for each game. If you want a condensed version of what we're talking about, and a handful of pitchers and a handful of bats at each position, the link to the article for pretty much every day is in the description of these videos, along with our absolutely free Discord. Angels bats against Michaelis, not much. But if I were to take him, Logan O'Hoppe I would look at. Nolan Schanuel I'd look at. I would put Mike Trout in there, and I'd also put Taylor Ward in an Angel stack. And I honestly don't mind an Angel stack today. I would use Tyler Anderson. That would probably be the only pitcher I'd use in this one. San Francisco at Houston, you got Blanco versus Jordan Hicks. So Jordan Hicks went from the bullpen to a starter last year. In those games, he had 20 starts, had a 4.10 ERA, 4-7 record, only 96 strikeouts. Faced Houston once last year, 4.2 innings, 3 earned runs, only and 5 strikeouts, only 10.9. Didn't do a lot. I would like this if it were more in San Francisco, which is a pitcher's ballpark. And then you got Blanco. Blanco did well last year, 2.76 ERA. Faced San Francisco once, 6 innings pitched, 8 Ks, 29.1 fantasy points. I don't mind him, whatever. I don't mind him whatsoever. So I look at that, and if I'm taking a pitcher in this one, it's probably Ronel Blanco here. If we dig into the numbers and we look at it real quick, San Francisco bats against Blanco, not much. Against right-handed pitching, Jung-Ho Lee, you could look at. Yastrzemski, you could look at. Willie Adames, you could look at with 28 bombs. Matt Chapman with 21 bombs. I think he had one on Saturday or Sunday. You could look at those. Like, those would be okay, but I do like Ronel Blanco here. Then Jordan Hicks. Christian Walker, 2 for 4 with a home run. Against right-handed pitching, they actually haven't done that well. DeZenzo, you could look at. Yordan Alvarez, you could look at. Christian Walker, McCormick, and Dubon. But I might look at both pitchers here. I think Blanco's more of your cash option. I think Jordan Hicks might be more of your tournament option. That's what I'd look at in this game. We'll move to the Cleveland versus San Diego game. And in about a month or a couple of more weeks, we are going to do, once that we get about 10 to 15 games into the season, we'll do Pitches Be Crazy segment where we'll take the top 5 pitchers of the day against the teams that strike out the most. And we'll have that segment as well. It's just going off last year's numbers. It wasn't working the first couple of games, so we're going to shelve that till about 15 games in so we can kind of get a feel of how these offenses are actually going to do, both on the road and at home, and kind of get in a direction that way. So people were asking about that, so I wanted to tell you. So Cleveland versus San Diego. You got Luis Ortiz. I didn't even realize he wasn't with Pittsburgh anymore. He faced San Diego twice last year, 11 innings pitched, 6 earned runs, 6 strikeouts, averaged 8.8. Not enough. It is a pitcher's ballpark, though. And then you got Kyle Hart. 5th starter. Didn't perform well in his final spring. I'm probably off of both of these pitchers, and I'm probably into the bats overall. I don't want the pitching, I want the bats. So Cleveland bats against Kyle Hart. Never seen him. Against left-handed pitching, Gabriel Arias would be a cheap option. J. Ram batted .348 with 14 bombs, but he did leave Saturday's game and he did not play on Sunday, I don't believe. So kind of watch us. He is day-to-day with an ankle. But again, he's very good. He hits lefties very well. Carlos Santana hit 286 last year. Schneemann, only 31 at-bats, but had 355 batting average. Stephen Kwan hit 319. Lane Thomas hit 302. Joe Kinsey Noel had 7 bombs. Big Christmas. I do not mind a Cleveland stack. Also, San Diego. I don't mind a San Diego stack either. There's only 2 people on this roster that do not hit righties as good as lefties. Or do not hit. Yes. I'm all in on Luis Ariz. If Machado is in there, Jake Cronenworth, I am all in. Wait for a San Diego stack. Love me a San Diego stack a little bit more than Cleveland, but I will have stacks of both of these teams. Not necessarily in the same stack, but I don't want the pitching at all in this one. Detroit at Seattle, Jackson Jobe versus Emerson Hancock. Jobe, last year, 4 starts. His name has been, it's in contention for Rookie of the Year if he does well. Again, season hasn't started yet. Game logs, you can see he was out of the bullpen though. Now he's starting as the number 5th starter. So he kind of moved from Kenta Maeda to Jackson Jobe as a starter. We'll see how he does. The last 2 games he had in October, negative fantasy points. He had a good game against the White Sox, but that is the White Sox. Seattle, though, last year struck out the most out of any team. And they didn't really make any adjustments. So that being said, if they're still continuing that, and if I were just to look at how Seattle has done And I'm just curious for you guys how they have continued this year striking out. Washington, Detroit, Philly, Milwaukee, Seattle's 5th right now. This season, in 3 games, striking out 10.67. Their last game, they struck out 12. At home, they're striking out 10.67. So they've obviously been at home, and they have not fared well at home. Jackson Jobe, if he could go 5 innings, I think he could get 8+ strikeouts. I think he'll be a cheap. He's not cheap. He's 8,800. I almost threw the F-bomb down there. But anyway, Emerson Hancock, on the other hand, against Detroit. Detroit has struck out the 2nd most out of any team. Again, though, guys, we are under 3 or 4 games, so it's not a ton. Splits-wise for Hancock, home games last year, 361. Road games, 736. If I were to take one, it's probably Jackson Jobe in this one. I'd be okay with that. So we look at this, and we look at Detroit batters against Hancock. Haven't seen him before. Detroit batters against right-handed pitchers. Holt Keith with 12 bombs. Terry Carpenter with 17, batted 305. Riley Green with 280, batted 18. Home runs, 52 RBIs. I don't mind those guys. McKinstry might be a cheap option I'd look at. Yeah, that might be it. That might be it for there. And then Seattle bats against Jobe. Haven't seen him before. They really hit lefties better than righties. If you were to take Seattle bats instead of Jackson Jobe, you could look at Cal Raleigh, big dumper. Rowdy Tellez with 11 bombs. Luke Raley with 20 bombs. Victor Robles had 343 batting average last year, but only 3 bombs. And then J-Rod had 275 batting average with 14 home runs as well. Squirrel farted outside. My dog's heard it, apparently. Anyway, that's kind of what I would look at. I am really invested in Jackson Jobe in this one, especially like it's crazy. We are 4 games into the season, maybe 3 for some of your teams. And the pitching right here is ugly compared to what I'd like to look at. Thinking of like, just remember opening day, we had studs everywhere. Few and far between. I would look at Jackson Jobe here and maybe some Detroit bats. That's kind of where I'm leaning. Chicago Athletics, Sacramento, wherever they're playing right now. Yeah, I think Sacramento. So Sacletics, we've got Ben Brown, who was with the Cubs before. Or he is with the Cubs. He's the 5th starter. Last year, started 8 games. 2 at home, 6 on the road. ERA on the road was 386. Game log wise, did not do very well. I mean, he had a good game against Milwaukee, went 7 innings, but that was it. 18, 17 here, but 7 innings is what we got. Athletics are bad. I don't know this ballpark. If it was Oakland, I would know that's a pitcher's ballpark, and Oakland's a bad team. Oakland might not be a bad team this year. And then you got Joey Estes. Joey Estes Park faced the Cubs once last year, 1 inning pitched, 6 earned runs, did not do well. The Cubs bullpen has blown so many games already this year. We're only 4 games into the season, 3 games into the season. Pitching wise, I don't know if I like the pitching in this one. The pitching is kind of atrocious overall for this day. It's kind of very bad. So if we look at that, yeah, I mean, Cubs bats against Estes. Dansby Swanson has a home run. Haven't really done a ton against right-handed pitching. Birdie, 282 batting average. I don't know if he'll get in there. Michael Busch had 20 bombs last year. Dansby Swanson with 12. Ian Happ with 18. Kyle Tucker with 18. And Suzuki, 17. I don't mind those guys as bats if you are looking for Cubs. Athletics, Bryn Brown, nope. But against righties, Langoliers I like, 21 bombs. Blade 17 bombs, or 14 bombs. Brent Rooker had 294 batting average with 29 bombs. Butler had 17. Like, Gio Urshela, 271, 9 home runs. Like, I don't mind these guys. A very cheap option would be Max Muncy, who obviously never faced him before. So if you want to get creative, I don't mind a stack on either side. I think I kind of like Athletic stack a little bit more. That's wild to say, but I do. Then the final game, you've got the Braves at the Dodgers. I wonder what's going to happen in this game. Bet the Dodgers win. Tyler Glasnow versus Grant Holmes. Glasnow last year, 349. Got to use him. Christian Bale looks exactly like, not Christian Bale. Cillian Murphy, right? Yeah. Cillian Murphy. Yeah. Tell me he does not. I've never seen him in the same room together. Splits-wise, faced Atlanta once last year, got the dub, 7 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, and 10 strikeouts. And their offense is stupid. What it is. Home games, 3.60 ERA compared to 3.33 on the road. Don't care. Yeah, I mean, Tyler Glass now I'd pay up for. Got Grant Holmes, a bullpen guy. Initial rotation, but his first start not expected to come till Monday. Splits-wise, game log-wise, he was a bullpen guy. Don't know how long it looks like. Looks like Alan Jackson and Knight on the Chattahoochee. Faced the Dodgers once last year for 1 inning, 1 hit allowed. Obviously, making a start from the bullpen. It didn't work out for Clay Holmes. I don't think it's going to work out for Grant Holmes. Stack the Dodgers. Look at Tyler Glass now. Who do you want to stack on the Dodgers? Literally doesn't matter. Does not matter. If you can afford Ohtani, Betts, if you can afford all the big guys, and you can find some value today, what it is. Like, it's the Dodgers every day. It's stupid. Anyway, unless you're a Dodgers fan, I guess. But anyway, looking at that, that is the breakdown of all 14 games. 3 different slates on DraftKings for whatever reason whatsoever. If you want to check out Fantasy Team Advisors, you can. Now, we are going to go over the top batters that all have a 10 out of 10 matchup rating. There are, did I say 29? There are 29 batters that have a 10 out of 10 matchup rating today. This is a great start. This is through only 10,000 simulations. So we'll get through 20,000 simulations, and it might be a little bit different. So under the MLB tab, you can see we have Vegas odds, sims, BVP matchups, splits. The splits are from last year. Want to get about a month's worth of data before I update them every day. Cheat sheet. I mean, everything is there for you. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, get those down below. If you guys want to sign up for FTA Plus, get it down below as well. So that being said, we will start with all of the batters that have a 10 out of 10 matchup rating for this slate. Number 1 is Juan Soto. Number 2 is Lindor. 3 is Corey Seager. If he starts, he missed Sunday, we'll see. 4 is Pete Alonso. 5 is Brandon Nimmo. 6 is Jesse Winker. 7 is Luis Torrens. If you didn't get the trend right there, 6 of the first 7 are Mets. 8 is Bobby Witt Jr. 9 is Vladdy. 10 is Yordan Alvarez. 11, Kyle Tucker. 12, Adley Rutschman, followed by Christian Walker, Vinny Pasquantino, Jose Altuve, Carlos Correa, Fernando Tatis Jr., J. Ram, if he plays, we'll kind of watch this, Isaac Paredes versus Jordan Hicks, Stephen Kwan, Pete Crow Armstrong, Carlos Santana, Kerry Carpenter, Lars Nootbaar against Tyler Anderson, but I really like Tyler Anderson today. Yonder Diaz, Riley Green, Gleyber Torres, but again, he kind of hit a home run, then caught his side, so let's monitor that. Then it's followed by Wyatt. That's it. Gleyber Torres was it. If you were to go with the 9s, it goes another like 15 to 20. So we've got a ton for you. Any questions, comments, concerns, let us know down below. Again, let me know how you found this channel. Always love to hear how you guys find it, whether or not the algorithm is working. If you guys watch this video and watch the entire video, the longer you watch it, the higher the watch time. The algorithm helps me, and it gives me energy, and it energizes me to spend 40 plus minutes on these, sometimes 50 minutes to build these out. We do NBA stuff. I've got MMA, I've got NASCAR, PGA, NFL once it comes back. So MLB being back, it's our bread and butter. You guys know that we've been killing it. You guys have been killing it this first weekend. You guys have energized me so much to jump back on the saddle and make these the videos the best I possibly can. So that's what I've got. I guess we did forget the keyword. The keyword of the day is lime. Let's see who's still watching. So that being said, let me know what you guys would like to see in these videos. Big shout out to the 2 people that sent us a tip or a donation to my Cash App on Saturday. Huge. I mean, one of them won $20,000 this weekend. They tipped me some. I'm not going to say a number, but it is awesome that you did that. You know who you are. If you guys want to send tips or donations, very much appreciate as much as I possibly can. I love when you guys do that. I do have PayPal, Venmo, Cash App. We've got it for you. So Apple Pay, but I don't know how you do. I don't know how you tell people Apple Pay. But yeah, that's what I've got for you. Broke down this 14-game slate. Do not worry. We will be back tomorrow with the video. We'll have NBA content out there. We'll have MLB content. Check out the articles for both. Let's have a fantastic Monday. Let's have a great work week, or if you're off or whatever the deal is, let's have a fantastic time. Good luck. And as always, bring home some bacon. Peace.